Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I just need to send Mary Hodson a quick email and then we'll go ahead and start this webinar. Okay, I sent it to Mary. Okay, hi, I'm Liz Palma. I'm Julie Dobsky's assistant. Unfortunately, she is double booked, so she will not be able to attend this. She will try to make it towards the end, so I'm just going to open it up for her. She is not present. So on the call right now, we have Stacy, we have Deb, and we have Lynn. And the focus of this meeting is to get your goals into Rotary Central. So a few things before we start. If you did join via the either the Zoom app or online, you can have an option on the either on the bottom toolbar or the top toolbar, depending on how you have it set up. You have a Q&A, just if anyone has any questions, you can ask panelists. And then you also have an option if you any comments that you would like to make while any of our panelists are speaking, and then one of our panelists will go ahead and try to respond back as quickly as they can. Now, I have a quick read from John just about why are we doing this, and then I'm going to hand this on over to our panelists, okay? So we are recognizing that we are having a lot of trouble getting our clubs into Rotary Central. And having clubs record their progress in Rotary Central helps us tell our story and maybe one day prove useful in searching out other partners like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That sounds great from Rotary's perspective, but is that attractive at the club level at all? Probably not. However, recording the data could still prove useful. Just an FYI, I used to work in data, so data is really big in conveying your story. So we can imagine a scenario where a number of local nonprofits submit grant proposals and share their stories. While stories are always a powerful tool in the proposal process, imagine how much more powerful the submission would be if there was data to back it up. Saying to a company, here we are, and here's the proof, could only be that much more useful. Finally, when a club writes down their goals, they're more likely to achieve them versus a person or club that doesn't. So let's kick this off. And I believe, are you first in line? Who do we have speaking first?
I think Lynn's going first, isn't she?
Lynn, are you next on the timeline?
I was going to cover some of the things that you said about the importance of inputting the goals. I'll just add that it also is a good way for the clubs to keep a record of their goals from year to year and see the tracking of the progress or lack of progress with the goals. That is really helpful. And in today's electronic age, a lot of the club records get sidetracked in paper. They're just not kept with the paper notes. And having this in one central location, you'll have the club goals, projects, and completions in one place for historical purposes. And that builds up year after year. And so that will prove to be very helpful when you're asking, what did we do in this year or that year? And it gives the clubs an overall picture of all the things that are accomplished, and also shows a well-rounded club or where a club may be lacking in things that they need to work on. So at this time, I think Stacy is going to go over the specifics of entering the goals into Rotary Club Central.
Okay. Hopefully you can see my screen, I hope.
I can.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so the DACDB, you have to enter your goals in myrotary.org. So if you aren't signed up there, the first thing you need to do is go to myrotary.org, and right where this white area is, I've already signed in, but there's normally, you can either sign in or you can register. So if you haven't registered yet, it's super easy. You'll just click the register button, and then it will walk you through basically how to get your account set up. But once you're registered, once you're online, it's important to, the first thing you do is go over here to Member Center. And I know that this looks a little overwhelming, but it's actually pretty simple to get to the goals. So once you're over here, you want to go down to under Online Tools and go to Rotary Club Central. And what that's going to do is take you to basically a dashboard of goals. And the nice thing about this is it's not necessarily specific to you. So if your treasurer logs in and your president logs in and your secretary, all your same goals are going to be in here, like Lynn was saying. So it's nice to keep track of it for everyone. Once you're in here, the dashboard page is going to just show you some charts. And this actually isn't where you enter your goals, but you can kind of see there's different things on here, which there it goes, it's loading. Different graphs that will just show you the history of year to year. It's a nice page if you want to look at it. I didn't really use this particular page that much. Once you come over here, you want to go to Goal Center, and you'll click that. And what this is going to do is take you to where you're going to enter all of your goals. I was president last year, and this was really helpful for me just because I'm on a computer all the time, and it was easier than writing it down. And it just kept me on track with what I wanted to do for our club. So once you're in here, and like Lynn said, you can toggle up here between last year. So these were all the goals that, you know, I did last year. So you want to make sure you're obviously on the correct year. Once you're in here, you can hit edit. And what this is going to do is just allow you to, you know, basically start entering your goals. And you don't have to enter all of them, but, you know, we tried to go through last year and enter as much as we were doing. You know, your club membership, I think, is a big one. And that's where you obviously want your members to be. Once you have completed a goal, let me go down here. I think it's up here. Let's see. You toggle up here through your different. Let me see if I can move this. Okay. So just if you hit all, then you can see everything. So it is a little easier versus toggling each one up there. But you can see, like down here, for example, the online presence is one. We select that goal. So, you know, that was one that we wanted to do. So you go in and you select it. And normally when you select a goal, it's you haven't achieved it yet. So if you do your online presence. This is actually going to show you what each one of these means. So this one says, does your club's online presence accurately reflect its current activities? And ours does. So we just went in and hit yes. So that particular goal is done for the year. Like here's RILA. We always try and send someone to RILA. Last year we had a goal of 3, but we only met 1. So we didn't actually achieve that goal. So it's just, this is nice because we can see what we did last year versus what we want to do this year. And it's just a good way to keep track of all your goals. I recommend when you go in here hitting all, because you can see all your goals. I know it looks a little overwhelming, and it did to me at first because there's so many. But it's just, you just get in there and play with it, and each one of these will tell you exactly what it means. And down here you can see, you know, our club, we haven't always entered our goals either. So you can see over the years, sometimes we have, sometimes we haven't. And one other thing I think is important with this is you want to make sure over here, you've got your goal center. But what we did was under service activities, we kept track of what we were doing over here. So it was nice because last year, let me go back here. We had several. So it was easy to go in here, enter what we were doing. And so this year, when our president for this year comes in, he can look through this and not only look at what we did last year, but go through here and add his own service project. So you just go in here and add a new service project, what you're doing. And it's, I mean, it's really self-explanatory. You just go in, type what you're doing, the start date, the end date. Did you complete it? And then it just keeps track of it for you. So it's nice because we've had people ask us before, you know, what service projects did we do? And a lot of the time, you know, we just don't know. So it's just a nice place just to keep track of it. And down here you can see, it's just some charts and graphs. You do have reports down here as well that you can run, which incorporates a lot of this, like your club growth, members in a club. Some of our committees use that. Resources is a good spot as well to answer a lot of your questions. There's a lot of step-by-step in here. And then contact us. I actually, I know sometimes we don't have the best luck with you know, getting help on this, but I had asked, you know, several questions and I actually got answers from International that, you know, they did help. So, but that's, I mean, that's really kind of it in a nutshell. Once you get logged in, just go to your goal center and just start entering your goals. And like I said, you don't have to enter them all. We didn't, but we just tried to do as much as we could. So that's it.
Thank you, Stacy, for demonstrating that for our audience. Deb, can you please explain how AGs can help with this?
One of the nice things about the assistant governors is that most of them are familiar with this, having already been a club president, and many of them are on this webinar tonight getting a brush up. But if you're having trouble in your club getting your goals entered, or if you need someone to sit down with you, your assistant governor is really your best resource. And if they have any problems, we can get you additional help. But please use that as a resource. And I'm saying to the assistant governors who are on the webinar tonight, remember to touch base with your club presidents and presidents-elect so that they know that you're available to give them a hand. And let me know if you need help.
Thank you, Deb. So I'm just going to open it up now. Does any of the panelists have anything additional they would like to say regarding the goals to be entered?
Liz, I might just mention that it's not necessary to have a lot of goals. We specifically are hoping that we can at least get each club to have one goal around membership, one goal around foundation giving, and one goal around service. And if that's all your club wants to set for this time, that would be great. But in order to help guide your club, that would be a really good start for those clubs who haven't got anything in at this point.
Awesome, thanks. So a minimum of 3 we're shooting for.
Yes.
Thanks, that's great. Anything else? Anyone else would like to add?
Does anyone have any questions on club secretary or treasurer, some of the other things in Rotary Club Central?
If you do, you could please ask some questions in the chat box or in the Q&A. All right, well, this is going to conclude our webinar on how to enter your goals in Rotary Club Central. Is that what it's called? Am I saying this right?
Yes.
Okay, I always confuse it with other things. There's, you know,
And I would imagine that Stacy and Lynn would be glad to visit with anybody individually that might have some specific questions. So thank you very much for that.
Stacy, there is a question in the Q&A. Can you take a look at that?
Let's see. As far as I know, what the question is, how do these tie into the presidential citation? From what I understand, this is also a way that international can track, or the district can track what you're doing. As far as I know, I was under the impression of that when I was president last year, that when you put your goals in there, there's some other things you need to do, like on myrotary.org, the showcase, that kind of stuff. So if you look at My Rotary and type in presidential citation, there's usually a brochure in there that will tell you exactly what they're looking for. But I think that entering your goals this way ties back into that.
It's my understanding that having goals that help you qualify for that citation are half of the battle, but the way that you document having accomplished those goals and qualifying for the presidential citation is tracked through the Goal Center in My Rotary.
There is a box in the Goal Center that specifically focuses on, it's a list that focuses on the presidential citation. And although it doesn't link to the goals that you put in, you can check the box. It shows what all the criteria are, and you can check the box when you have that item complete.
Thanks, Lynn.
Where is that?
Is it possible for one of you to show that on your screen? Stacy, is that something you're familiar with?
Was it under where I just was at? Is that what Lynn?
I believe so.
Here, let me go back. Let's see. Yeah, so the citation, it's one of the tabs up there, I believe, is what Lynn was talking about.
I think it was over to the right.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And then, yeah, as you scroll down here, I think, yeah, Rotary citation. Like there's the polio. These are, I think, are specific to the citation. But yeah, it's its own tab right over here.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Did someone see Janet Ellis Nelson's question about updating her goals?
So my goals on time, updated them. How to log the new information. Let me go back in there. I'm not sure, Jan, I'm not 100% sure. Like, so.
Could you repeat her question?
Yeah, let me go back. She is asking. Okay, let me get back here. Okay. Club president submitted. Okay, there you go.
So Janet asked, I am a club president. I submitted my goals on time, but I have not updated them. I looked at them today and couldn't figure out how to log. Sorry, it took me out of screen. There we go. How to log the new information. Can Stacy re-explain that?
So I guess, for example, like with club membership, maybe, like you change your goal, or like so this is a little different with ours. So if I want to change that to maybe we want 28 new members now, and then I guess I'm not 100% sure what Janet's asking is.
I believe Janet is asking how she shows her progress. Now that she has her goals in, she'd like to go in and be able to document her progress toward accomplishing those goals.
So and maybe I'm not the best person to answer this. How I did it was I would just go in and just change these. And I think,
I believe it's just in that achievement area, and you would document what you have achieved so far.
Yeah, that's how I did. I guess I didn't really track when I did it, like what I was last month and what I was this month. I just would go in and, type in that.
Sure.
Type something in, and then I would go and save it.
Yes.
I do know there's a lot of reports over here, and that could be a way to track them. I don't know if on the dashboard.
No, I think Janet is just asking how she documents her progress.
Okay.
So Janet, just use that achievement box in each of your goals to enter where you are now, and you can update that periodically.
Stacy, could you click on one of the blue lines that says show goal details and history so everybody can see what that's like? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of shows, that just shows progress from year to year, but it does show, what we did this year versus last.
Right.
And you can see some, like in ours, 2016, they're all different. Each president does it differently, so you can see what each one of them did. Let's see.
The question that Janet has now is, does RI automatically add your new members for you? And I don't believe it does in this section. It adds your new members overall in your general reporting, but as far as your accomplishment towards your goals, you will need to add that manually.
That's correct. For those of you who have questions about DAC-DB, we will be having some DAC-DB training in the spring and show how DAC-DB does and does not interact with Rotary Club Central. So if you're struggling with that, just stay tuned for a couple months and we'll help you with that.
Are there any other questions? If not, I guess, Lynn, you want to wrap up?
Thank you, Joe. I know there are a lot of questions concerning DAC-DB. It is more cumbersome to use than Rotary Club Central. And a lot of it is just patience and time. I found that it's very helpful to sit in a block of time with either program and just kind of play around with it. You can't hurt anything. And if you do something wrong, there are people who can help undo things, but you're not really going to hurt anything. But just spending some time with figuring out how the programs work and how they interact is really important. And I found that to be very helpful over the years because there are a lot of tools embedded in both of those programs that are useful to the clubs, especially in the officer positions of president, president-elect, secretary, and treasurer. And you can just use that as a useful tool for many different things within your club. I also encourage cross training, because a lot of clubs may have one person who has become pretty fluent in one or the other program, but they may be the only person, and that can create issues too. And it's best if there are 2 or 3 people who know how to enter the goals, who know how to enter or terminate new members, who understand how adding a new member to DAC-DB, how that transfers to Rotary Club Central, and if it doesn't transfer correctly, what to do about that to get it fixed, and things like that. So it's just helpful, the more people that know how to do it and understand what the different security levels are in DAC-DB is good too.
Okay.
Thanks, Lynn. Now, on behalf of Julie Dobsky, I'd like to thank the panelists for taking the time to be able to explain this to everyone that joined the webinar and to be able to demonstrate and share their knowledge. I hope this provided some insight and hopefully some inspiration to get those goals into Rotary Central. And I'm going to reiterate what Julie always says: when we go to meetings, you guys are doing great things. Let's show the world the great things that you guys are doing.
So true.
And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, you always feel free and welcome to contact Julie Dobsky directly at her email. This concludes the meeting. I will go ahead and leave it open for like the next 5 to 10 minutes, just in case anyone has any other questions that they would like to ask. Other than that, you're free to log off. Thank you again.
That's it.
This is like the awkward silence. Oh, Janet has something. Oh, thanks, Janet. She said thank you to you guys.
Yeah, we know, Joe.
Bye, Joe. Have a good meeting. All right, Heather and Mike, you were the last ones on. If you don't have any questions, you guys are free to log off. If you do have a question, please ask it now. All right, I'm going to end the meeting. Thank you, ladies, for staying on a few minutes longer just to make sure everything is good. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye, ladies.